Life didn't exactly hand me an easy start. My childhood was a chaotic swirl of hardship, with rare sparks of happiness. We were broke, and the neighborhood was far from safe. Still, I learned to tough it out and find slivers of joy in the madness. Those years taught me survival and the value of real connections. They built the foundation for everything that came after. As an adult, those lessons became more than relevant. They became necessary. I drifted through jobs, always chasing some sense of stability and meaning. Relationships came and went, each one adding something to my understanding of trust, betrayal, and my own self-worth. By 30, I had a better sense of who I was and what I wanted. But nothing prepared me for what hit next. A sharp scream echoed through my head like a siren in a tunnel. My scalp pulsed, and my skin felt like it was being stabbed by a million needles. When I cracked one eye open, the light hit me like a bomb, blinding and brutal. A shrieking noise clawed at my brain like demons fighting over a megaphone. God, Buddha, Shiva, anyone? Cthulhu, I groaned. I dry heaved, but I had nothing left. The shriek slowly shifted into something vaguely human. I forced my eyes open and tried to make out the blurry shape above me. Blinking a few times, I saw feet, pink toenails, and fuzzy cotton candy slippers. Okay, definitely a woman. Not Donnie from Trailer 6. He only wore polish when drunk and feeling pretty. These feet were clean, small, and attached to legs without moles or faded Rick Astley tattoos. The voice snapped at me in Spanish, but my Sesame Street-level skills weren't up for the job. I caught something about 32 donkeys and someone's grandma, not exactly dinner talk. Realizing I was on my side in the white gravel of the trailer park, I groaned and tried to sit up, gagging from the headache. The yelling stopped, and the feet jumped back. Things weren't getting better. Towering over me was Lola Rafaela Santiago, pink robe clutched tight, finger pointed like a dagger. Her rat-sized chihuahua looked ready to lunge. Lola wasn't someone you messed with. Donnie once said she was the angriest woman alive, and honestly, that was generous. I gave up trying to be polite after she responded to a good morning like I'd insulted her ancestors. Today, alongside the usual stack of final notices and legal threats, I got a full-force Spanish verbal assault. I turned away, hoping to end it, but that just fanned the flames. Even though I avoided her, I'd be lying if I said I didn't watch her stomp around in that see-through robe, one of the few distractions in our dying trailer park. She drew herself up like a queen ready for war and laid into me again. I shoved off an umbrella and pushed myself upright, still swaying. She stared me down with utter disgust, then switched to English like she meant business. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she snapped. I looked down, and there I was, standing in her rose bushes, naked and painted like the Mexican flag. A small audience had gathered, Donnie in overalls, Flo looking like Danny DeVito's cousin in drag, and Ernie and Nikki in matching sweats, both with 5 o'clock shadows. I grabbed the umbrella to cover up, which set Lola's chihuahua into a barking fit. "You scared my little Liam," Lola yelled, scooping him up. I winced. Bad idea. My head pulsed like a drum. "Liam? Who names a chihuahua Liam?" I muttered. "She likes Liam Hemsworth," Flo chimed in, waving a sandal. "I'm more into Chris Hemsworth," she added. "But Liam? Wouldn't kick him out of bed for eating cookies." Lola let out a glass-shattering screech. Too bad the maintenance guy who fixed windows had gone MIA. Lola glared at me like I was vermin. "You think this is funny?" "No," I said flatly. "If Chris or Liam saw this, they'd cry." "Not what I meant," Flo cut in, frowning. "She did," Lola growled, stabbing her finger toward me. Then came another Spanish rant, fast and furious. Her robe slipped open enough to show she wasn't wearing anything underneath. The chihuahua clawed at her, pulling the robe farther, revealing a neatly trimmed heart shape. "Never seen a naked woman before?" she snapped. "Not many with your flair." "Love the heart," I said. She slammed the robe shut, furious. "Clean your puke out of my roses, you freak." I glanced at the mess. "I'll take care of it later." "Sure you will," she sneered, turning to leave. "You stole my heart," I called, nodding at her robe flapping open again. She tried to fix it, but not before a nipple made a surprise appearance. "What did you say?" she barked. "Nothing. I'm staying for the encore," I smirked. She growled, storming off, robe lifting just enough to flash her bare rear. The crowd dispersed, leaving just me, Donnie, and Flo. "Hell of a woman," Donnie said, scratching his belly. "Donnie, she's half your age," Flo snapped. "Yep," he grinned. "Gross." "True," he nodded, still staring at her trailer. "Flo," I said, still watching, "is it Sunday?" "It is," she replied. "Good. Not late for work, then." Flo squinted. What does Mexicano honorario mean? Honorary Mexican, I said, spotting the words across my chest. I sighed. Javi is so dead. I dragged myself back to my trailer, found the key hidden under a flower pot, and stumbled inside. My furniture was 2 cracked lawn chairs, a scratched-up thrift store radio, and a single milk crate. I pulled on a pair of shorts and grabbed a few buckets of water. Didn't feel like asking Lola for her hose after this morning's mess. The rest of the day was a battle between Tylenol, water, and the hangover from hell. I finally set my alarm and collapsed, hoping I'd wake up less miserable. Just before sunrise, I was already at the gate when Javi rolled up in his rickety old school bus. Hey, Calvin. He grinned like nothing happened. It's Calvin, you jackass, I snapped. He waved me off. Nah, it's Calvin now. You're one of us. Honorary Mexican, remember? Oh, I remember. Especially the part where you labeled me with a sharpest, I muttered. I'm pretty sure my bloodstream's now 60% tequila. And mezcal, Javi added cheerfully. You left me naked at the gate, I said, glaring. You had a sombrero, he said smugly. I rolled my eyes and slumped into the seat behind him. I woke up in Lola's rose garden. That a metaphor? 'Cause I bet that garden is blooming, he smirked. No, idiot. I puked on her actual roses. Damn. Lucky she didn't bury you in M. She's insane. Her ex cheated, she stabbed him, and the mistress. Why'd you set me up like that? I asked. Because you're the first gringo boss we've had who doesn't treat us like thieves, he said. We're harvesting tomatoes. What is there to steal? I asked. Technically, it's pronounced Jesus, he joked. But seriously, you've got common sense. Rare thing. Even though I was technically the boss, Javi ran the show. I mostly stayed out of the way and picked tomatoes with everyone else. You could run this crew yourself, he offered one day. No thanks. If something goes missing, I need someone to blame, I said. He translated that to the crew, earning a round of laughter as we rolled out to the fields. 3 hours into our brutal 14-hour shift, my parole officer showed up. Calvin, Troy Mendez sneered. Just making sure you showed up for work. I'm here, aren't I? Miracle, he said. You know the difference between you and a prisoner? Just one bad decision. I'm following the rules, working, clean, staying out of trouble, I said calmly. You've had 3 jobs in 6 months, he shot back. Now you're working with wet axe. Javi, nearby, pretended not to understand English. You won't make another 18 months. You got me fired from those jobs, I pointed out. They needed to know what kind of loser they hired, he smirked. Time for a pill test. You've got 2 hours to get to the center. I don't have a car. It's almost 2 hours away, I said. You know the rules. Miss it or fail it, you're back inside, he chuckled as he walked off. Javi appeared at my side. You sure you're not Mexican, Calvin? Pretty sure, unless Mom had a thing for the gardener, I joked. Wouldn't hurt to check, Javi said. Why? Because that guy wants you locked up and shipped out. He stared after Troy's car. Jesus. You mean Jesus? Come on, remember, you're one of us now. Raphael will drive you, Javi added. I don't have time to train another crew boss. We reached the test center with 15 minutes to spare. I had to peel my fingers off the seat. Didn't know it was possible to drift a school bus through rush hour traffic. On the way back, Raphael chatted nonstop in Spanish. All I knew was how to count, name colors, and swear. Not much of a conversation. That evening, Javi sat next to me during dinner. Saturday night, you started telling me how a fancy stockbroker ended up here. Then you passed out. Not much to tell, I said. The SEC came after my firm. I figured I was clear, but they locked me out. There was insider trading tied to an account I had access to. They blamed me, couldn't prove it, but pulled my license anyway. Still landed in jail, Javi said. Yeah, they found coke in my car during the investigation. Not mine, but I couldn't prove that either. They used it to squeeze me about the missing money. Tens of millions, I added. Got sentenced to 3 years, but overcrowding meant 6 months in county. Javi raised an eyebrow. You sure you didn't take it? If you did, I've got a cousin who can help. If I had that kind of cash, I'd already be on a beach in Mexico, I said. What about the pills? He asked. Thought they were planted. I used to drive high-end clients from the airport. Maybe one dropped it. Bad timing. Everything unraveled. My wife stuck around until sentencing, then she took the savings and ran. Which, Javi muttered. I wasn't totally crushed. Tequila helped dull the pain. She still works at the same firm. Lucky she didn't get fired. She's obsessed with that job. It's her identity. Ah, love conquers all, Javi said. thick with sarcasm. Love doesn't pay bills, I muttered. What were you making? Close to $500,000 a year with bonuses. No? Barely scraping minimum wage. She took it all. Can't you get it back? She's an accountant. She knows how to hide money. It'd take time, lawyers, and cash I don't have. Maybe one day I'll sue for my share. Javi shook his head. From your paycheck? Might be a long wait. Despite knowing better, I let him talk me into hitting another bar that Saturday. You need to get out. Cut loose, he urged. Like last week? Where Sunday felt like death. I said. Still, I slid into the back seat. That old brown Bonneville somehow held 8 guys. No one even pretended to care about seatbelts. We're going somewhere better this time, Javi promised. I thought that dive bar last week was your favorite, I said as Javi pulled into a new lot. They didn't show us the love we deserve, he said. Did we get thrown out? He hesitated. Possibly. Didn't your cousin own that place? Distant cousin, he said with a grin. This place is dancing. And women. Lots of them. Wearing very little. As we pulled into a salsa club, I gave him a look. Salsa? Isn't that more Cuban? Doesn't matter, he shrugged. Hot women and short dresses. I'd show up if this were a square dance hall. You even know how to dance? I asked. I know enough to fake it. Polka, maybe. I can actually dance, I said. Waltz, tango, jive, salsa, trina, and I used to hit dance clubs every week. Javi's eyes lit up. Thank God. Maybe we won't get kicked out this time. I laughed. First round's on me. Make it domestic. I've seen your paycheck, he replied. We walked in, and the place was buzzing. 2 bachelorette parties, 3 divorce parties, and a ratio so skewed, we could have passed for lottery winners. Most of the women were already on the edge of blackout drunk when we arrived. I got yanked onto the dance floor by a wave of divorcees, a bridesmaid squad, and even the bride's mom, who managed a sneaky grab before I'd even tasted my beer. I barely managed to sit down again and caught Javi being pulled away by the same woman who groped me. Holding a sweating Modelo Especial, I scanned the packed floor, a sea of skin and sequins. Then I saw her, bent over a table to hear someone over the music, wearing jeans that looked spray-painted on and showing off a full, heart-shaped backside that made my pulse stutter. Every little movement seemed timed to torment me. Yeah, that was a world-class ass. I was still hypnotized when Javi stumbled back beside me. That cougar warned me, he groaned. Told me she'd break me. I didn't believe her. She's a lot, huh? I muttered, still watching. Divorced 6 times. She almost had my pants halfway down. He trailed off, following my gaze. Damn, now that's it. The woman stood upright. Lola. Her eyes zeroed in on me like a hawk spotting a mouse. Javi immediately raised both hands like he was under arrest. Hey, I just got here, he said loudly. She ignored him and marched straight up to me. What the hell are you gawking at, you perv? She snapped. Before I could mutter something half apologetic, a laughing bachelorette crashed into our table, tugged along by her bridesmaid in a pink sash. She needs to dance with 5 more guys, the bridesmaid declared, grabbing my arm. I gave Lola a helpless shrug as they pulled me up. I'll be back. The bride herself looked like she regretted the whole thing, but I tried to be a decent human and played along. I didn't make it back to the table for 3 songs, intercepted by another bride, 2 more bridesmaids, and a gorgeous trans woman who kindly rescued me from another cougar. At least dancing with her didn't feel like being strangled by an overly friendly octopus. Just as I was making my way back, a hand grabbed mine. Lola, you ever coming back to your damn table? She asked as she pulled me into a dance. She didn't seem quite as pissed, more curious than furious. I tried. I had a cold beer back there, probably warm by now. I drank it, she said coolly. I was waiting for an apology. Any inclination to apologize disappeared. If you don't want people looking at your ass, maybe don't pour yourself into jeans and bend over like it's a Vegas show. Her lips tightened. It wasn't for you, creep. I didn't see a reserved sign, I said, keeping my tone light. And I looked pretty closely. I expected her to slap me. Instead, she smirked and shook her head. Javi says you're not as big of a jerk as I thought. He also painted me like a flag and dumped me naked in your yard. True. But no one forced you to drink. Fair. Still, dragging buckets to clean vomit while hungover wasn't fun. I didn't actually expect you to do it, she said, her tone softer now. We danced, and for the first time, it felt like maybe we weren't enemies. As she walked away, I watched, unashamed. She turned back briefly, smiled, and mouthed, pervert. I winked. She rolled her eyes and slid back into her seat. Javi looked me over like a medic checking for wounds. You survived. Barely. She's your cousin, huh? Second cousin, he replied. Thanks for talking me up. Kinda owed you, he admitted. You did, you bastard. Shockingly, the week that followed was quiet. No fights. No puking. One check-in from my PO. 6 days of work, no disasters, and I'd even gone 2 Sundays in a row without wanting to die. Life was borderline. Peaceful. So, naturally, that meant trouble was brewing. We'd finished a field early and were driving back before sunset when Javi pointed across the street. Hey, Calvin, isn't that your parole guy? With the blonde. I looked and froze. Yeah, that's her. What? Javi asked, easing through the light. That's my ex-wife, I said, staring. And that blouse is way too open for a friendly lunch. Javi squinted, then glanced at me. Hang on. He pulled the bus to a stop, yelled something in Spanish to the back, and a bearded guy stepped forward. Javi opened the door. I started to rise. Nope. You sit down, Javi ordered. I need to know what the hell's going on, I said. Exactly, he replied. But you're still saying it wrong. This is Jesus. He knows your PO. And we've got a cousin working inside. Maybe we'll get lucky. I tried to tell myself it was coincidence. Maybe she was asking about me. Maybe it was innocent. But deep down, I knew better. What were the odds that my cheating ex-wife just happened to be having lunch with the same smug parasite who wanted me back in prison? I sighed, watching the restaurant fade into the rear view, and felt the dread set in. Javi raised an eyebrow as he watched me stew. Could be nothing, but it feels wrong. We rolled out, and he caught my eyes in the mirror. I'll swing by tonight. Jesus will let me know what he finds. I nodded, stomach tight. Jesus didn't dig up much, but what he did, yeah, it was bad. One of the waitresses, a cousin of course, said Trina was practically crawling over fish, who looked like he might melt from anxiety. According to Jesus, if her blouse had opened any farther, she'd have been legally stripping. Maybe she's trying to get him to go easy on me, I offered weakly. Javi gave me a look. You really think that makes sense? A guy like that's fine with predators and pushers. He wouldn't blink. She was trying to convince him of something. How do you even know that? I asked. Not many parole officers around here. I've got a cousin who I cut him off. Of course you do. I rubbed my forehead. This feels off, Javi. Really off. He stared at my busted-up table. You gonna check into it? Yeah, sure. I'll just break into my imaginary savings account and hire a private eye. Do those still exist? Javi grinned. You don't need one. I've got a cousin who works housekeeping at her condo. I groaned. Jesus, Javi. How many cousins do you even have? As many as necessary, he said with a wink. We're like ghosts. All over the place. Unseen. You don't need to do this. This is the fun part, man. It's detective work. Besides, what are friends for? Later that day, we visited his cousin Marina. She was excited at first, thought it would be like a telenovela. But the second she saw a photo of Trina, her whole energy changed. She froze, frowned, then launched into a storm of Spanish. Javi, what's going on? I asked, picking up the tension. He looked uncomfortable. Come on. Even I know what peyote means. Marina faced me square. She has visitors. Regulars. We're divorced, I replied. I don't like it, but it's her life. Lie. I hated it. Marina didn't blink. You've been divorced 4 years? My mouth went dry. What? I've worked there that long. And she's had one guy visiting all that time. I sat back, stunned, then slowly felt a sick kind of relief. That couldn't be. I was always home at night. They come during lunch. I'm sure it's her, Marina insisted. Skinny ass witch. Javi pulled out a photo of fish. This the guy? Marina shook her head. No. There's a new one, blonde, big, maybe a gym guy. But the long-timer? He's thin, twitchy, dark hair. I tried to sit up but ended up on the floor. You've got to be kidding me. That sounds like Craig Denton. Accounting guy. Marina's face softened slightly. You didn't know? How could I? Her office was 5 minutes from the condo. Mine was 40 on a good day. Javi grabbed my shoulder gently. You're not going to do anything dumb, right? You'd blow your parole. I nodded. I'm not storming in with kung fu moves. My only martial arts skill is screaming when I walk into spider webs. I can't afford a PI. And technically, screwing around isn't a crime. I've got no options. Javi sighed. Fair. I expected Fish to pull some stunts soon after. But 2 weeks went by. Nothing. Then, one afternoon as we were just passing the city limit, Javi got a call. He immediately cut across 3 lanes and floored it back to the trailer park. He stopped right in front of my place. Lola was out front, arms folded in that infamous pink robe, staring daggers at Fish. Donnie and Flo watched like it was pay-per-view drama. I hadn't even stepped off the bus before Lola turned her rage on me. "Did you give this moron permission to go into your trailer?" she snapped. He marched in right after the bus left. Fish didn't flinch. "Parole condition. No right to privacy." "Yeah, but you need cause. Otherwise it's harassment," I shot back. I read the terms. "I can request another officer be present." He twitched. "That's for female parolees." "Nope. Just says a second officer. Doesn't specify gender." Then I dropped it. What did Trina want? Fish's face lost all its color. "I don't need this." He turned toward his car. "Hey, what's going on?" I followed. He opened his door, then paused and looked at me, suddenly older. "How the hell would I know?" he muttered. He slammed the door, started the engine, then rolled down the window. "I'm transferring you to Anderson. I want out of this." "Out of what, damn it?" I yelled. He tossed something out the window and stared at me hard. "Your ex wants you locked back up. Watch your back. She'll do whatever it takes." He sped off. Donnie walked over and picked up the package Fish had tossed. Oxy. For bags. At least 20 tabs. Enough for intent to distribute. Javi just shook his head in disbelief. I closed my eyes, feeling my stomach churn. Lola stepped closer. The scent of her perfume grounded me. Her voice was lower now. "He was going to plant that in your trailer?" I nodded. "You'd have gone back?" "Real prison this time. With real gangs." I shivered. Lola reached out and held my arm. "You okay?" she asked, suddenly softer. "Not really. You're not stalking her, are you?" "I don't even own a car. Javi drives me everywhere." Somehow, her holding on to me made the panic dull a little. "Something's going on, but I don't know what," I admitted. "We're divorced. She took everything. I haven't gone near her." I took a breath and told Lola the full story, everything that led to my divorce, my arrest, and my parole. When I finished, she looked stunned. "She tried to sleep her way into getting you locked up?" "Seems like it. She must really hate you." "I didn't do anything. She's the one who cheated, and I didn't even see it coming." I muttered, the weight of it hitting harder now. Lola's lips curved into a dry smile. "You didn't need to do anything. She probably blames you anyway. That's how some women work. Twist the guilt until it fits." Her deep brown eyes locked onto mine. "Javi's right. You need to watch your back. If she hates you this much and she's still pushing, she's not done." The thought turned my stomach. I looked over at Javi. "You got any cousins in Bergman Towers?" "That's where Trina works." He smirked like it was a dumb question. "Come on, man. We're everywhere. I'll get Marina to start snapping pics of any visitors she gets at home, too," he added. Flo, wearing Donnie's overalls like she'd just claimed squatter's rights in his wardrobe, scratched her thigh while squinting after Fish's car. "Donnie, and I'll keep an eye on your place," she said. "But you oughta add a latch and padlock. Don't make it easy." I felt Lola's hand slip away from my arm as she turned toward Flo. "You called Javi?" I asked her. She nodded, hesitating just a beat. "You saved me," I said, meaning it. She gave me a look that danced between mischief and deflection. "You spend enough time staring at my butt. I figured it was my turn to watch yours." Javi groaned. "To be fair, yours is a hell of a lot more interesting." Lola raised an eyebrow. "God, I hope so. If it's not, I've wasted a fortune on gym memberships." She gave her own backside a firm slap and winked. I blinked and dragged my eyes back up. "So, where do you work?" "Crestridge Medical. I'm an LPN. Pays meh, but the insurance isn't bad," she said. I faked examining her curves. "Well, the gym clearly works overtime." She wiggled her hips and grinned. "Damn right it does." Javi checked the bus. "Calvin, we've got tomatoes waiting to be picked." "Yeah," I said, glancing back at Lola. "Thanks again. Really, you saved my ass. Just let me know if anything else happens, okay?" she said, heading toward her trailer, robe fluttering like she owned the breeze. Flo whistled. "Phew, I'd sop that up with a biscuit." Donnie groaned. "For God's sake. She's half your age," Flo teased. "Yep. Pervert." Donnie just shrugged. "Yup." 6 days later, Marina handed us photos in her living room. She was practically vibrating with pride. The first one was Denton, the skinny, twitchy accountant. Never noticed how often he dropped by Trina's office. I definitely didn't picture him crawling into her bed while I was busting my back at work. The second guy? Total mystery. Big, blonde, buzz cut, decent suit, and carrying a briefcase like he walked out of a finance ad. I squinted. Nothing clicked. Javi watched my face. Ring any bells? Not a one. Maybe he works at your old firm? Marina guessed, clearly loving her new role as spy-in-chief. No, never seen him. Could be from her office, I guess. They were in the same building? She asked. No. Brokers were in my tower. She worked out of HQ with the rest of the support staff. Javi perked up. I got a cousin who does security there. Of course you do, I muttered. At this point, I wouldn't have been surprised if he had a cousin inside the Vatican. He nodded and texted rapidly. He's on shift. Says we can stop by, he'll take a look. As we left, Marina's husband leaned over and whispered something to Javi, who chuckled. What's that about? I asked. He wants us to keep investigating. Says Marina's been all charged up since this started. Charged up how? She's had this lifelong fantasy about being a detective. Bought handcuffs and one of those fingerprint kits off the internet. Oh no. It's cute. Javi grinned. Please stop. Stop right now, or I'm telling you about what Donnie and Flo did with a spatula. Javi shuddered. Okay. You win. We pulled up to a squat apartment building. Javi led us to the 3rd floor and knocked on a green door. A red-haired Viking of a man answered. He looked like he bench-pressed refrigerators for fun. Calvin, this is my cousin Bjorn, Javi said. He runs the security team at your ex-wife's building. They hired him out of the NYPD. I blinked. Javi, he doesn't look even remotely Mexican. That's because he's not, Javi said casually. Bjorn sighed. Swedish, Javi? Whatever. Swedish, Norwegian, same cold place. Bork, Javi shrugged. Bjorn just laughed and waved us in. He's still mad about the FIFA match. Oh, not this again, Javi said. Bjorn cracked open beers. Got lucky on a $100 bet? Javi shot back. Get lucky with your sister, man. She's taller than me. She'd have to pick you up by the ankles and use you like a puppet. Maybe I'll call her, Bjorn said with a grin. Javi winced. You're a sick bastard. Bjorn handed me a beer. So, where's Ruby? Javi asked. Traffic. She had a gig across town. He nodded to a photo of Bjorn with a cheerful-looking pale woman in wild makeup. She's a clown, Javi said. A real one. Clown school and all, Bjorn added. Clown Academy, he corrected himself. She works children's wards now, medical clowning. Seriously? I asked, sipping my beer. Met her doing street magic in New York. Got stuck there when her circus shut down. I arrested her. You what? She got in a brawl with a mime. I had to arrest both. Javi burst out laughing. Did you keep a straight face when you told the mime he had the right to remain silent? Bjorn grinned. Took me 3 tries. So, I searched through Ruby's bag once out of curiosity, balloon animals, rubber chickens, a joy buzzer, 6 lollipops the size of my head, 2 clown horns, and what had to be 50 yards of handkerchiefs knotted together. The last one had a red lace strip tied at the end. It took 15 minutes and drew a small crowd. She walked away with almost $600 in tips. Hell of a way to meet someone, I said, sipping my beer. Yeah, Bjorn smiled. She found me while I was on duty a few days later, handed me her number, and ordered me to take her out. The door swung open and in bounced a cheerful, not remotely creepy clown with sparkling eyes and a rubber chicken. Hey Javi. Nacho cheese Doritos, she chirped, then turned to me with a grin. That's about all the Spanish I know. She was silly in the best way, light, breezy, infectious. I laughed before I could help it. She leaned in and studied me. Did Bjorn tell you a bunch of nonsense about me? She lifted her hands in mock protest. He tells everyone I'm a clown. You are in full clown makeup, carrying a rubber chicken, I pointed out. She held the chicken up like a trophy. Dinner. Also, maybe I got a little carried away with the eyeshadow this morning. Her grin widened. Anyway, it was 43 handkerchiefs, not 50. And he loves the clown thing. With a spin, she twirled into a perfect pirouette and landed in Bjorn's lap. Don't you, babe? He kissed her without a word. She twirled off and skipped away. Be right back. Gotta lose the face paint. Bjorn watched her disappear down the hall, and then his face shifted to something more serious. Your message sounded urgent. What's going on? Calvin has a situation, Javi said. Someone's trying to set him up. We don't know why yet. Bjorn gave me a look. You look more like a Calvin than a Calvin. It's Javi, I corrected automatically. Bjorn raised his beer toward me. Just so you know, I've been told to keep you out of the building. Hope that's not why you came. I shook my head. We're not looking to sneak in. Just answers. Javi laid it out, the whole mess. Took about 15 minutes. Ruby returned halfway through, makeup gone, a beer in hand. Sounds like a damn soap opera, she said, settling in. Your ex hates you that much? I shrugged. Apparently. I don't even know why. What are you trying to do? Bjorn asked. Figure out who this guy is, I replied. Javi showed him the photo of the blonde guy with Trina. Bjorn leaned forward. Yeah, I've seen him. Doesn't come around much anymore. Never saw him with Denton, though. You know who he is? Name's Miles Whitaker. SEC investigator. Tried to throw his weight around when he first showed up. That landed hard. Javi and I didn't say much on the drive back to the trailer park. At the gate, I finally spoke. So not all your cousins are really your cousins. He grinned. You have the family you're born with, and the family you choose. And Lola? I asked. She's really my second cousin. But she likes you, you know. You're the one who said she might stab me in my sleep. She might, he said, still grinning. Doesn't mean she doesn't like you. His smile faded. So what now? I don't know. Trina being with an SEC agent while I was under investigation? That's a serious ethics issue. I should report it. But if I poke the bear, she'll come after me even harder. You can't just do nothing, he warned. You need backup. I've got you. Damn right, he said, and drove off. I walked into the trailer park, the sun nearly gone. Hey, pervert. I looked over and saw Lola, sitting outside her trailer in a lounge chair, a bottle in hand. Hey, Lola. Rough day. Yeah, turns out everything I thought I knew about my wife was a lie. She held up the bottle. Tapatio. From Jalisco. Want some? That's the good stuff. Don't waste it on me. I've been where you are. I can spare it. She patted the chair beside her. You promised to tell me what's going on. I sat down and accepted the bottle. I don't have a cup. It's tequila. Kills everything. You won't catch my cooties, she said, teasing. I took a sip, more worried she'd catch my bad luck. What happened? I exhaled. Trina's been setting me up for years. She was with the SEC guy more than a year before they came after me. Denton was already in the picture 2 years earlier. And she tried to get Fish to send me back to prison. Lola tucked her legs up under her. How long were you married? Just over 4 years. So, she was cheating basically the whole time? I nodded slowly. That's what it looks like. We sat in silence for a few beats. You think she married you just to use you? Lola asked. God, I hope not. But yeah, that thought's been in my head. She took the bottle, drank, and passed it back. Some women? Manipulating men is their superpower. She looked at me. So, what are you going to do? Go full revenge movie? I shook my head. I just want peace. But I don't think that's in the cards. She raised the empty bottle. Maybe peace comes in bottles. Let me check inside. She got up, and as she opened the door, the light behind her practically erased the robe. She looked back at me. You coming? There was no way I wasn't. I followed, hypnotized by the sway of her hips. The chihuahua darted under a chair as she pointed toward her bedroom. Bottles in there. I stepped in. She turned, robe loose, and gave me a wicked smile. I warned you. Manipulating men is what some women do best, she said, wrapping a leg around me. She started to speak again, but I kissed her. The robe hit the floor. I carried her to the bedroom as the chihuahua howled in protest. Later, Lola lay half on top of me, breath slowing, her fingers tracing lazy circles on my chest. She smirked. Wow, you must have been saving that. I'm sore in places I forgot I had. She glanced at the floor. I'm throwing that pillow out. No washing that out. She laughed. Nah, I'll just buy another. I ran my fingers through her hair. It's been a long time since I've had anything close to a social life. You didn't hook up with that cougar at the club, right? Lola asked, side-eyeing me. No, I replied. She laughed. I know. I was watching you. I was watching you too. I shot back. Fair. I noticed, she teased. And I lied. That dance floor drama? All for your benefit. Her teasing smile faded. Then I should tell you the truth. I knew you'd be there that night. That's why I showed up. I groaned. Javi's dead. He didn't know, Lola said quickly. He just wanted a fun place to go. I chose the club. Why? She exhaled. Because I needed to stop being such a witch. I've been angry for years, since my ex. I thought you might understand. She smirked. Besides, I saw plenty of you before you grabbed that sombrero, perv. So, you were shaking your ass at me on purpose? Worked, didn't it? You practically drooled every time I took out the trash. That robe isn't exactly subtle. She grinned. I admit it. I like to show off. And apparently you've discovered my weakness. I squeezed her ass. Good to know. A knock at the door interrupted. Lola tossed on her robe and answered while I scrambled to get dressed. She turned back to me, puzzled. This girl says she needs to talk to you. Ruby stepped inside, clown makeup gone, but still with that spark in her eye. Hey, Calvin. Got a sec. Lola stays, I said. Fine, Ruby sighed. But this doesn't go back to Bjorn. I nodded. Go ahead. She took a breath. When the circus went under, I was broke. I started doing street shows and a few light con stuff like 3-card Monte. Bjorn said you did street magic, I recalled. Toughest kind there is. Just you, the pavement, and the marks. No props, no help. I was good. Lola raised an eyebrow. And how does that connect to what's happening here? Ruby hesitated. I overheard things about bigger cons, long cons. I even helped with a couple. Bjorn thinks he saved me from all that. And mostly, he did. I never got in too deep. But I don't want this stuff reflecting badly on him. I looked over at Lola. She smiled gently and let out a soft laugh. I get it, she said. Ruby grinned and gave Lola an exaggerated wink before turning serious again. Calvin, I think you're seeing this all wrong. What do you mean? You're asking why they're targeting you. But that's not the right question. This is a con. A big one. And you're not the mark. I blinked. Wait, what? No offense, she said, but there's nothing about you worth scamming. No money. No assets. Not even a working car. Lola chuckled and nodded. I winced. Okay, fair. Then why set me up? Why push to throw me back in prison? Because you're not the mark. You're the distraction, Ruby said. My stomach twisted. That doesn't sound any better. They want everyone looking at you, so they can do whatever they want behind the curtain. Lola leaned forward. So how do we stop it? Convince the real mark they're being played, Ruby said simply. And just like that, the light bulb flicked on. Damn it, I muttered. What? Lola asked. The Seychelles. We were supposed to go to Fiji on our honeymoon, but Trina suddenly changed it to the Seychelles. Why does that matter? Banking loss, I said. She sent me out deep-sea fishing for a whole day while she stayed at the spa. She probably opened an account in person. No paper trail, no link to her name back home. Isn't there someone you can call? Lola asked. There's a reporting portal for the SEC, but if I use it wrong, they'll tip off Trina and the SEC guy she's banging. I nearly coughed on the tequila. Who watches the Watchmen? Lola mused, half smiling. Maybe the DOJ and FBI, I muttered. The IRS has a fraud portal, too. So I went to the library, filed anonymous reports on every site I could find, DOJ, FBI, IRS. I laid out everything. If nothing else, it might mess up their little scheme long enough for them to leave me alone. I updated my new PO, Anderson. Kept working with Javi and the crew through the end of the harvest. Then came the donut job. Simpler, easier. I missed the crew, but the schedule synced with Lola's, and by then we were basically living together. Life finally felt steady. So of course, it didn't last. One evening, I was helping Lola set the table, nuzzling her neck and grabbing her backside, when a loud knock rattled the trailer. Lola sighed, adjusting her robe. If Donnie's here to borrow my robe again, the answer is still no. But it wasn't Donnie. 2 deputies and a pair of guys in suits were standing there. I recognized the uniforms, county deputies. One of the suits flashed a badge. Calvin Rourke? I nodded, spotting Donnie and Flo gawking from across the lot. I'm Special Agent Reed, FBI. We'd like you to come with us to answer a few questions. Lola clutched my arm like a lifeline. Are you arresting him? No, ma'am. We just need to talk. I looked at her. I should go. She didn't argue. Instead, she whipped out her phone, snapped photos of all 4 men, and leaned close to one of the deputies. Whatever she whispered turned him pale. As I got into the car, I saw Donnie and Flo heading straight for Lola's trailer, probably to eavesdrop or reinforce her watchtower. At the FBI field office, they led me to a bland interview room. Gray carpet, gray table, painfully bright lights. I waited 20 minutes. Finally, a sharply dressed agent entered, placed credentials on the table, and opened a folder. Mr. Rourke, I'm Senior Special Agent Michael Delgado, Cyber Division, D.C. We received your tip and need clarification for an ongoing RS-FBI joint investigation. Your help is appreciated. I blinked, overwhelmed. Javi, I muttered, not sure why. Delgado didn't flinch. He tapped a line in the file. You mentioned a potential offshore account in the Seychelles. We need your help narrowing down which financial institution your ex-wife, might have used. For the next 2 hours, SSA Delgado walked me through every detail of the setup. We went over timelines, maps, fake honeymoon plans, everything. I had to handwrite and sign statements like it was 1983. He never acknowledged we'd met before. No mention of Marina, Bjorn, or Ruby. Thank God. They were family. This wasn't supposed to touch them. When it was over, he gave me a firm, flawless government handshake and thanked me for cooperating. I stepped back into Lola's trailer with my ears ringing and my brain on overload. She was waiting. "You okay?" she asked gently. "Did you know?" I said, my voice hollow. "About Michael?" She blinked. "Michael who?" "Javi." Her whole posture changed. "What about Javi? He's okay, right?" "He's FBI." I'd never been more relieved to see someone look completely blindsided. "You're joking," she whispered. "He told me he came out here because he screwed up in New York." Her face twisted. She spun away and exploded in rapid-fire Spanish. I didn't catch any of it, probably for the best. Liam ducked under the chair, and I briefly considered joining him. "Lola, I'm sorry," I said quietly. She stopped and turned. "For what?" "For even thinking you might have known." "You asked," she said, her voice calmer. "You didn't accuse me. That cabron lied to all of us. Family, my ass." The investigation broke wide open. The news ran with it for months. IRS and FBI raids, SEC scandals, corruption exposed. Trina took a plea deal, but she still got 15 years after giving up the money she'd stashed offshore. The SEC agent she'd been sleeping with? He didn't get a plea deal. 20 years, straight to federal prison. More people were in on it than I ever imagined. It made my skin crawl, thinking Trina had woven most of them into her plan years ago. I was lucky not to be part of some CDC case study. Some got 5 years. One IT guy only got 18 months. Lola's only comment when she saw Trina's sentencing photo. "You were married to that string bean? I thought you liked women with real asses." What can I say? I was deprived for 4 years. "Making up for lost time now?" she asked, mock glare in place. "I know. You've told me I can't leave bite marks anymore. Can't even wear shorts without someone asking if I got attacked by a weasel," she muttered, smirking. She still wore that tiny robe around the house. If anything, she flaunted it more now. I didn't complain, even if I was occasionally the one with a scratch or two. The courts started reviewing my conviction. Turns out someone, probably an IT guy with a conscience, admitted Denton had planted the pills in my car. Trina orchestrated the whole thing. Still, I didn't hold my breath. Legal wheels turned slower than tectonic plates. P.O. Anderson had gone completely hands-off. He even called to let me know the motion to vacate was moving forward. Fish. He retired quietly. No charges. I wasn't sure how to feel about that. Lola thought he would have bailed before going through with it. That was enough for me. After Trina was sentenced, Lola and I started meeting up with Bjorn and Ruby more often, mostly at the salsa club, sometimes street fairs. Watching Ruby spin around the dance floor like a rubber band clown was wild, and her street magic always drew a crowd. One night, Lola went to freshen up, and I grabbed a table. Just as I flagged a waitress, Javi sat down across from me. "I've got this round. Least I can do." He ordered drinks, then leaned back. "Javi, or should I call you Michael?" He winced. "Javi, but you might want a clear path to the door." Lola's still mad. "Yeah, that tracks. You earned it, though. You were good, convincing. I thought you were my friend." He nodded. "I liked you. That's what made it hard." Bjorn said he had his suspicions, I added. "He thought I was state narcotics or something, right?" Javi chuckled. "FBI wasn't on his radar. I wasn't even assigned to you, you know," he continued. "We had a bigger op running and came up empty. You got placed at the site by coincidence. Pure dumb luck." I stared at him. "So the FBI just lurks around Pilparoles waiting for lightning to strike." He sighed. "You don't get it. Everyone thought you had the missing money. There were, like, 6 agencies quietly watching, waiting for you to bolt. And when did you figure out I wasn't in on it?" Took a while. I couldn't say anything until I was sure. When we found out Trina was with the SEC guy, everything got messy. None of our evidence was legal. Too many leaks, too many political strings. The Bureau couldn't officially touch it. But if someone filed a whistleblower report, we'd have cause, he confirmed. And you did. It worked. You triggered the right attention at the right time. So I was just what? The fall guy. Basically. You were supposed to go down, take the heat, disappear. They didn't think there'd be enough doubt to keep you out. But there was. And when I got out early, Trina couldn't touch the money. Not without drawing fire from every agency watching, he finished. If I had gone back to prison, they would have backed off. She'd be free to collect. Javi nodded slowly. Cold as hell. Yeah, I talked to her. Interviewed her after the sentencing. He looked disturbed. She's a full-blown sociopath, he said. No doubt in my mind. They're drawn to money and power, Javi said, so they end up in finance, law, politics. Cold as ice and smooth as glass. Great liars. Convincing, too, I added. You'd never see it coming. Kind of the pot calling the kettle black, huh, Javi? He shrugged. Fair. You're lucky you're still breathing, he continued. She probably figured killing you would draw too much heat. She asked about you, though. Wanted to know why you never came to see her. Why you didn't try to talk. What the hell is there to say? I snapped. She was never who I thought she was. Javi set his beer down. Sociopaths, they don't care about reconciliation. They want the satisfaction of watching you break. Seeing your face when you realize you were just a puppet in their show. He chuckled. Really pissed her off when I told her you screwed everything up, ruined her plan, cost her the money, and landed her in prison. Hell of a win for someone who just wanted it all to stop, I muttered. Worked out for me, he said. Sociopaths always want to show off. She told us just enough to sink 2 more accomplices and help us trace more funds. Lola suddenly appeared, arms crossed, eyes narrowed at Javi. She hissed something rapid and sharp in Spanish. Javi raised his hands in surrender. I know. My mom passed along your opinion. Loudly. I'll never live it down. Lola looked between us, suspicious. He's explaining, I said simply. She pulled up a chair beside me, hooked her arm through mine, and kept her glare on Javi. He sipped his beer. What else do you want to know? How many people were in on it? I asked. You sure you want that answer? I nodded. 10. 2 were women. 11 if you count the IT guy who botched planting the pills in your car. Kid got caught getting favors in the server room. Rolled on everyone as soon as we leaned on him. Got 18 months. 18 months for a few blowjobs? I said, shaking my head. Lola elbowed me, grinning. Mine better be worth at least 2 years. They're priceless, I replied. Javi held up both hands. Too much info, folks. I surrender. Lola laughed wickedly, and for a moment, the weight lifted. Then the quiet settled in. I stared at the bottle. So, why are you really here, Javi? I needed to set things right, he said. Family, you know. A dozen bitter comebacks formed in my head, but I let them go. Are we still Calvin and Javi? He smiled. Yeah, cousins. Michael and Calvin? That part's over. I looked at Lola. I think I can live with that. She studied him carefully. You ever do anything like that again, and you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Her voice wasn't angry. Just matter of fact. Javi nodded. I know. And I deserve that. Thanks for giving me a chance. He drained the last of his beer and stood up. I need to go apologize to Marina. I talked to Bjorn and Ruby. That's how I knew you'd be here. Bjorn gets it. Ruby, not so much. She doesn't trust easy, I said. But when she does, it's all in. He nodded. I screwed that up. Then he reached into his back pocket and handed me an envelope. I was hoping you'd let me be the one to deliver this. What is it? I asked, already bracing myself. The adjudication paperwork. IRS whistleblower reward. For the tax evasion report you filed. He shrugged. It's not a fortune, but it's something. You get a cut of the taxes they recovered, minus deductions and Uncle Sam's piece, of course. It's a way to start over. He hesitated. If the court vacates your conviction, would you go back to your old job? I shook my head. Nah. Even with a clean record, there'd always be suspicion. No one's sponsoring me for a Series 7 again. The donut shop guy's thinking about retiring. I've been managing it. I'm looking into a loan to buy it. It's affordable, and it's profitable. Javi smirked. A big-shot donut shop owner. Jesus. You're still saying it wrong. Jesus works there now. I hired him. Raphael, too. He laughed. Still hard to picture. Money's just money, Javi. I've got family now. That's what matters. I saw something flicker in his face before he turned away. When I opened the envelope and flipped through the documents, my heart nearly stopped. Total payout? Just over $500,000. I showed it to Lola. She smiled slow and wide. Well, looks like buying the donut shop won't be a problem. And maybe now you can afford a nicer ring. She glanced at her quarter-carat diamond. No way. I'm keeping this one, she said. You saved for it. It means more than anything else. I squeezed her thigh. So what do we do with the rest? She looked thoughtful. There's a lot of empty lots in the park. We could get a double-wide, big deck, enough space to have everyone over. Donnie and Flo, maybe even Javi in a month or two. She glanced at the door. I nodded. Add a grill, some patio furniture, maybe a killer sound system. Lola leaned into me. Maybe make one of the bedrooms a nursery. You know, for later. Her voice was soft, uncertain. Maybe not too much later, I said. We could go 4-bedroom. Just in case. She exhaled, then smiled slyly. Maybe I'll be the one leaving bite marks on your ass tonight. Pervert, I grinned. You better believe it, she whispered.